Let me share my screen. CR, please put a message on in the group. Is my screen is visible? Please respond. My screen is visible. I've shown a PPT. Blank PPT. It's a blank PPT. Okay. 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 Let's start the class then. So basically, we have to start about theories of failure. Okay. No one asked me why theories of failure and everything. Right. So what is the need of theory? You can ask me that. You could have asked me that. We have UTM. From UTM we can get sigma y and sigma u, right? Hello. Now audible. Let me switch off my fan. Wait. Is my voice is okay now? So see, from UTM, that is universal testing machine. From universal testing machine you will get, suppose this is your structure, you are giving a tensile strength. Now it is audible. Please respond. Ma'am, can't hear you properly. Okay. What about others? Voice is okay? Okay. Okay. Now means voice is okay, ma'am. Okay. ठीक. Okay. So can't hear you properly, ma'am. Is it with some of you or all are not able to hear my voice? Please respond. My voice is okay. I can hear. Okay. So see, okay. Thank you. Thank you. So from universal testing machine, we have discussed that suppose this is the structure, you will get the stress if we applying a tension on that, will get sigma y or sigma u. Okay, so you will have standard value of sigma y and sigma u for different materials, rather steel, rubber, any structure you will get. If you go through Google, you will get sigma y and sigma y is your yield strength and sigma is your ultimate strength. You will get standardized value. Okay, so you could have asked him, ma'am, that we can take this value. Why you are going for theories of failure? So we have discussed that in practical life, day-to-day life, uh, a structure won't be facing only axial stress. Okay, it will get some combined loading. Suppose it will get some compression, it will get some shear stress. Okay, so to find the stress over this structures, you will need this theories of failure. Okay, you cannot define you cannot define get this different stresses due to shear, due to compression with your USTM value. These standard values won't give you stresses for the complex stress system. So we what we'll do, will find the stresses from these theories of failure, T of TOF. From this theories of failure, we'll find some stresses and we'll relate these stresses to sigma u and sigma y. Okay, that is the purpose of this UTM, Universal Testing Machine. That is the purpose of UTM. So we'll relate this sigma y and sigma u with the stresses with TOF. Okay, so that is the purpose of theories of failure. I'll change my screen once again. Okay. So, is my screen is visible? I've shared a PPT. Is it visible? No.
No, ma'am. No.
Okay, just wait for some minutes. 1 minute, just wait for 1 minute.
Now.
It is visible?
Yes,
Okay.
now.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so you hope you have understood the difference between means why we are taking theories of failure. What is the purpose of theory of failure? Because we with this we can find the stresses on compound stresses, compound structure, compound loading system. Day to day life, our structure is getting compound stresses. That is this is if this is a structure, it may get tense compression in this direction, it may get tensed in this direction, and it may get shear stress, right? So to find the stresses, what we do, we go for theories of failure. So number one is most important is maximum principal stress theory, which is also called as Rankine's theory. Okay, and it is applicable to your brittle material. Okay, keep in mind that the maximum principal theory given by Rankine theory is generally for brittle material. We got two materials, right? For brittle material, we have a critical stress as sigma y or sigma u. Response. Just now we discuss for brittle material, which will be critical stress, sigma y or sigma u. Which one? Respond in the chat box. For brittle material, critical stress will be sigma y or sigma u. Right, right. Be fast. I've said that maximum principal stress theory given by Rankine theory is for brittle material. Sigma U. Sigma U. Okay. What about others? Sigma U. Good. 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 So for this material, okay, Rankine stated maximum principal theory as a material fails by fracturing when the largest principal stress exceeds the ultimate strength in a simple tension test. This is on the set of fracture. A structure will have you will have a major principal axis, major principal stress, and one minor principal stress. Okay. One will be major principal stress, suppose represented by, I'm representing major principal stress as sigma 1 and another sigma 2, and there will be, this is in 2 dimension. If you take 3 dimension, then there will be one more stress that will be represented by sigma 3. Okay, major principal stresses, this is the largest stress acting on the structure. Minor principal stress, that is minimum. This word will be maximum. Sigma 1 will be maximum and sigma 2 will be your minimum. Okay, so we always design for maximum value. Remember that. Okay, so you will have different types of stresses on a structure. Suppose I'm giving a, this is our structure. It is experiencing a combined load. Okay, suppose tension, sigma, suppose this is tension. This could be one, there will be four places of stress. Okay, sigma 1, it is acting as tension. Also sigma 2, I am showing you a 2D dimension where I am taking sigma 1 and sigma 2. So sigma 2 and sigma 2. So this could be one case where your sigma 1 is applying as tension, compression, and sigma 2 is also applies as a compression. So there, in this case, your stresses are like stresses. Okay, these are your like stresses. This could be one case. Another loading case may be like this. Your sigma 1 is acting as tension, your sigma 1 is acting as tension, and sigma 2 can be act as compression. So this is unlike cases. Again, there may be one more case that sigma 1 is also acting as tension, sigma 2 is also acting as tension, right? Yes or no? So this may be one case. This is sigma 1, this is sigma 1, this is sigma 2. So this is also like cases because both sigma 1 and sigma 2 are acting in same direction, tension. And there will be one more case. Now tell me what it could be. What it could be. We have seen that the both can be in compression, both can be in tension. and in one we see that sigma 2 can be in compression, this can be in tension. So now sigma 1 can be in compression and sigma 2 can be in tension, right? So these are the various loading conditions. This is the one case, this one is one case, this four. These are the four different case we can take for this theory. Okay. Yes, these are the combination of stresses. So Rankine states that a material fails by fracturing when the largest principal stress exceeds the ultimate strength, sigma u, in a simple tense. That means for the safe condition, your sigma 1, which is our maximum value, it should be less than or equal to sigma y or sigma u. Okay. So based on your material, ductile or brittle. For ductile, it will be what? Crack will start at the most highly stressed point in a brittle material when the largest principal stress is okay. So for brittle material, sigma u and sigma y. So these sigma 1, that is major principal stress, should be less than these two value for a safe condition. Okay, and it says that when the largest principal stress exceeds, that means sigma 1, when the sigma 1 exceeds sigma y or sigma u, your your structure will fail. So this is the criteria. And one more thing, hope you got this in your earlier semester, that the for combined load, suppose this is our structure, it is getting tense, it is getting compression, it is getting tension at this point, and for shear. That is for the combination, for this combined load, your major and minor principal stress is find out by this formula. Sigma 1 or sigma 2 as sigma x plus sigma y divided by 2 plus minus, or you can take sigma 1 plus sigma 2 divided by 2, sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2. Let me write once again. So for combination of load, you can find the sigma 1, that is major and minor principal stress, by this formula. Sigma 1 or sigma 2 is equals to sigma 1 plus sigma 2 divided by 2 plus minus root over sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2 whole square plus tau 1 2 whole square. So this is the formula for to finding the this sigma 1 sigma 2 on a structure where you are getting combined load. Okay. So criteria has a good experimental verification even though it assumes ultimate strength is same in compression and tension. I would like to show you this figure. Are you able to see a figure where it is written yield surface corresponding to maximum principal theory? Is it visible? I have changed my screen to another PDF. Is it visible? Hope this screen is visible. Okay. So see this figure carefully. This is this is this sigma 1. Okay, sigma 2 is not able to see this sigma y yielding stress. So when your point is at A, according to this, if one of the principal stress, that is sigma 1 is maximum principal stress, sigma 2 minimum principal stress, or sigma 3 exceeds the yield stress, yielding would occur. In a two-dimensional loading situation for a ductile material where tensile and compressive yield stress are nearly of same magnitude, your sigma 1 is equal to nothing but sigma 1 plus minus sigma y. So yielding occurs when the state of stress is at boundary of the rectangle. So if I take a component here, this is the sigma 1 I am applying. When your structures, if you take from the zero, consider for example the state of stress of a thin wall pressure vessel. Here sigma 1 is equal to twice of this forgot. At a point A, the stress are still within the elastic limit. So see at this point A, At this point A, your structure is still in elastic limit. But when your structure reaches to this B point, it will start yielding and it will fail. Yielding will begin at point B. This theory of yielding has a very poor, however, this theory has been used successfully for a brittle material. So it is saying that your when your sigma 1 value, okay, this exceeds your sigma y or sigma u, so it will start yielding and it will get failed. So this is the criteria for this this theory, that whenever sigma 1 increases or it, it increases comparison to sigma y or sigma u, your structure will start fail. Okay, and we have saw that there will be four different load cases. Then this theory of yielding has very poor agreement with the experiment. If we do this experimentally, it won't be possible. However, it is used successfully for brittle materials. So it is best for brittle materials for the just such as cast iron, but the same theory does not follow for ductile materials. So these are the limitations, that it does not distinguish between tension and compression. Okay, it does not give you the distinguish that whether you are applying tension or compression, how you are getting these results. It does not distinguish between whether you are applying tension or compression, whether you are getting the results because of tension or compression, and it does not depend on orientation of principal planes. So any applicable to isotropic materials. So it does not depend on orientation, how the structure or how the material has been oriented. So it is applicable to isotropic materials. Okay. And why isotropic materials? Because wherever you find the stresses, you will find all the properties in the same direction. So this is the generalized 3D state. Sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3. We have discussed 2D. Okay. So this is one your sigma, 3D state of stress. So these are the important points you can write. Crack will start at the most highly stressed point in a brittle material when the largest principal stress at that point reaches to U. That is when the sigma 1 reaches your sigma U, it will get cracked. Okay. Then we have maximum shear stress. See, here they have taken about the principal stress theory. That means they have taken the maximum principal stress. When this maximum principal stress increases the sigma y or sigma u value, it will fail. But they have taken shear stress. That means they have taken the value of tau. Okay. Also known as max. It is given by Gasset or Pesaka, and it is basically good for your ductile material. Yielding will occur when the maximum shear stress reaches. Your yielding will occur when your maximum shear stress reaches that which cause yielding in a simple tension test. Okay, so when maximum shear it reaches its maximum shear stress, it will start yielding. Recall that yielding of a material occurred by slippage between planes orientation by 45 degrees to principal stress. This will indicate to you that yielding of a material depends on the maximum shear stress in the material rather than maximum normal stress. So it is by this theory it says that your shear stress. This is our structure. So the shear stress we have discussed so many things in earlier classes. So the shear stress is the main stress. Okay, this is the reason behind of the failure. If sigma 1, that is principal stress, is very greater than sigma 2 and it is very greater than sigma 3, then sigma minus sigma 3 gives you sigma 1. That is the condition given by Prashika for the failure. Failure of case occurs when the maximum shear stress exceeds the yield stress as determined as the stress. Same. Okay. I'm near my speaker now. So in the uniaxial stresses, this is the sigma y. Okay, this is the Mohr circle. So this is your failure surface as per the maximum shear stress theory. This is sigma x, sigma y, sigma y, sigma y. So it is saying the shear stress should be less than and equal to sigma y or sigma u. But we know this is for ductile material, so we'll consider only sigma y. So as per this theory, it is saying that your tau shear stress, the shear stress should be less than or equal to, means this is the main reason of failure. If your shear stress is not less than or equal to your sigma y, then your structure will fail. So as per this theory, it is said that you have to give focus on the shear stress value of the structure or the material. Okay. Yes. According to this theory, yielding would occur when the maximum shear stress just exceeds the shear stress at the tensile yield point. At the tensile yield point, sigma 2, sigma 3. So these normal stresses, they are taking 0. And thus maximum shear stress is sigma by 2. This gives us 6 condition of 3-dimension stress conditions. So in earlier cases, we got 4 conditions of stress. Now in this theory, we will get 6 condition of stresses. These are this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the 6 stress conditions. This criteria agrees well with the experiment and will get this equation. This is the Mohr circle. So basically, in short, in this theory, if your shear stress exceeds, is less than your sigma y, then your structure will be safe. Otherwise, the structure will fail. And because of this, we got 3 uh, equations. In earlier theory, we got 4 stress conditions. Now here we have these 6 stress conditions. Okay. So there is nothing much in this case. Go through this note. I'll share now and study about rest. We will discuss on Wednesday. Okay. Rest we will discuss on Wednesday and we'll do uh, what we'll do one revision of theories of failure. I'll try to show you a video on YouTube, or better, I'll share a video in the group where you'll get easily so that you can understand easily. Or after that, if you have any issues in this, you can ask me. Okay. So you have for this theories of failure, first you have to be familiar about your Mohr circle. Okay. So do one thing. Maybe engineering mechanics you have got this chapter Mohr circle. You should, if you have not gone, then please study Mohr circle. Okay. If you get the Mohr circle from Mohr circle, you will get what is sigma one, what is the principal stress, uh, what is the major principal stress, what is the minor principal stress. If you are clear with that concept, then you will understand this part. The same formula, sigma 1, I have given you sigma 1 by sigma 1 or sigma 2 is equals to sigma 1 plus sigma 2 by 2 plus minus root over sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2 whole square plus tau 1 to the power whole square is very important formula. So you have to use these conditions and apply those conditions on those formula, and you will able to solve some numerical. Okay, we'll discuss on Wednesday. We'll discuss these remaining 3 theories plus numerical. So before that, I would like please go through Mohr circle. Okay, what is major principal stress? What is minor principal stress? You once go through that, then read this, try to understand. Okay, if you don't understand, then let me know in the on Wednesday. I'll again explain these 2 theories. So hope the again my voice is losing. Okay, so hope you have understood why we need theories of failure. Okay, your compound structure fails by due to many loads. So you should know what is the reason behind of that failure. Okay, okay. So if you have any issue, you can type in the chat box, and please write your roll numbers in the chat box now. Please go through more circles, okay? And maintain your notes. No, many of you are not aware about the stress strain curve we have studied. It will become complicated. That's why I started with stress strain curve. So what you have, everyone wrote their roll number, I guess. Done with the roll number. Yes. Okay. So in short, what you have learned in today's in two class. If anyone wants to speak, they can speak. What is the purpose of studying the theories of failure? Have you understood this part? This is the important. Okay, have you understood what is the purpose of studying the theories of failure? Response: yes, you have studied the theory of failure. But what is the need of theory of failure? Why you need these theories? We have five theories, right? Which we discussed today. So why you need these theories? See, interaction is very important for the live class. So you have to respond. You have to respond. You should respond. To know the reason behind the crack or collapse of the structure. Yes, good. To know the material property and how the deformation occurs. Okay, good. Anyone else? So why we are not taking the experimental test? Because in experimental you will get only one stress. The load will acting in one direction only, right? But in general, in our day-to-day life, load are not acting only one direction. It is if you take a machine part. If you take a machine part is getting stress in all over the direction, right? It is getting shear stress. It is sometimes it is getting tension stress also. So to get the stress over those structures or over part of a machine, we are studying the theories of failure. Okay, that what is the reason behind when when a combined load is acting on a structure, what could be the reason behind the stress? Okay, so hope understood. And please, one more, I'm saying that go through the stress strain curve we have discussed plus more circles. Sigma 1 major principal stress and minor principal stress. This mole circle will also will you will get in your soil mechanics also. So please go through mole circle. Okay. So next class we'll discuss the rest three theories we have left, and we'll discuss the numerical based on these theories. And this is very important from gate point of view. Okay, so you should know the names also: Rankine, Saint Venance, von Mises, then Tresaka. You should know these names and the reason and the definition of this theories also. Hope this part is clear. Only two response. What about others? Anyone left the meeting or what? What about others? No response. Okay. Anyways, okay. Thank you. Let's we'll continue in the next class, that is on Wednesday. Okay. Okay. Thank you.